Hi, morning. Thought I would try it this time in the morning and see what happens and see who's around. If you are watching, give me a hello. Let me know who you are in the comments, or just say something so I can see who you are. It pops up. And thank you. Thank you for joining me. If you're watching on the replay, then hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you know anyone that could really benefit from this information, who you know or you feel like is just waiting for something to be different, if they're waiting for the right time, they're waiting to be ready, they're waiting for when they're good enough, they're waiting for when they've lost weight, they're waiting for when their kids are a bit bigger, or like whatever it is, if you're waiting, if you find yourself waiting for something, and that is what we are talking about today. And I'm going to tell you why you're waiting for the wrong thing, which sounds kind of controversial, and it is, but I'm not going to share what you think I'm going to share. So that is what we're talking about. If you have ever found yourself waiting for any of those things that I just mentioned, to be smart enough, to be thin enough, to be clever enough, for something to change, for you to have more time, for there to be more money, for your kids to be older, for you to be happier, for you to, whatever it is, if you have found yourself waiting, give me an emoji or some love, or just give me some, raise your hand, essentially. Raise your virtual hand and let me know that you have experienced this sensation, this feeling of waiting. For those who don't know me, I'm Ebony Allard. I am a misfit turned maven, a coach, an author, a podcast host, and I am here to help you figure out who the fuck you really are and learn to love it or change until you do, so that you can really create a life that you love, that feels as good on the inside as it perhaps looks on the outside, is profitable, sustainable and fun, and helps other people and the world become a better place. I'm really an advocate for be the change that you want to see in the world. I really stand for community over competition. I believe that we're all in this together, and I'm also a big advocate for participation over perfection, because I know that perfection keeps so many people paralyzed and keeps so many people from joining in and from experiencing the connection and sense of belonging that they so desperately crave. So that's who I am, and I'm going to dive into the content that I want to share with you, but first I really want to just mention why I'm sharing it. So I'm sharing it because I have a program called Your Thing Sure Thing, and Your Thing Sure Thing is a level 2 program on the Misfit to Maven way. So there are 3 levels in the Misfit to Maven way, and in the first one we shift your consciousness and help you shift perspective and give you the tools to believe that it is possible for you, to understand that you can change your perspective, to see that you're not alone, to become part of a community, to experience what it feels like to have hope again. And then level 2 is adulting. That level is what I call it. Now, level 2 is adulting, and that is all about taking radical responsibility for your life. And that means, for some of us, like accepting stuff. It also means taking action. It means having those uncomfortable conversations. But really, it's about defeating the demons and moving from feeling incongruent to feeling in alignment. It's about opting out of the drama without making it a drama. So really moving from a place of victim mindset to a place of empowerment and a creator mindset. And then it's about building a self-care and self-love system and routines in your life that become the foundation on which you build the rest of your life, become a solid foundation on which you build the rest of your life, but that aren't based on platitudes, that is really based on self-acceptance rather than self-approval. And from that, you will go from a place of constantly fighting to a place of flow. And so that's level 2. And then level 3 is what I call liminal living. And that is really about taking your message, taking your confidence, taking who you are, your work, your gifts out into the world. And that's about mastering true confidence and competency and building a tribe of your own. So in that, we go from taking you from being invisible to being influential, take you from feeling like there are fragmented different parts of what you do to really feeling whole and complete as you move out into the world. And then we take you from this kind of wondering of like, is this real? Am I good enough? Do people really like my work? Are my ideas going to change the world? To knowing what you're here for and being really in your purpose. And so often people want to jump straight into level 3, but we need the foundations of the other 2 first in order to make that possible. So Your Think Sure Thing is a level 2 program on the Misfit to Maven way. And it does mean that it's for people who've done some personal development work, who know how to change their state and shift their consciousness with awareness, intention, and action. It's for people who've already found the benefits of meditation, exercise, or diet, but maybe aren't using them as consistently as they'd like, or struggle to prioritize themselves or find the time to take care of themselves until they're run down or burnt out. So if you are someone who knows the stuff but isn't living the stuff, then this is for you. It's for people who get that the thing that is keeping them stuck is them. It's for people who want to feel like they really know who they are, rather than being a reflection of whatever and whoever that they are trying to impress. And if you do this work, then you will become proud of who you are and be able to continue to grow and change and evolve every single day without it feeling hard or weird or any of those things. So really this program is to all about giving creative, huge-hearted misfits the tools that they need to own their shit, know that they're not broken, and that they're not just good enough, but that they're bloody wonderful. So I'm really, really passionate about this work. And I want to give you the tools, routines and rituals, resources to feel happy and at home in yourself, regardless of what's going on around you. Whether your world is being rocked in a challenging or wonderful way, I want to give you the feeling of solid foundations in yourself, and that is imperative. Once you have that, then it doesn't matter what the world throws at you or what's going on. So I want to come back to the idea that I wanted to talk about today, which is that you are waiting for the wrong thing. What do I mean by that? Well, for whatever reason, let's say that you have grown up believing that you were broken or wrong or different somehow. And when you read or watched Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty, you felt a sense of real connection to that magical, hard done by heroine. Not only did you relate to feeling like you were treated differently in your family or at school, and that you felt like the outcast, but you actually found it much easier to get on with animals or plants than people. And maybe since then you've grown up and you've been on a journey and you've searched your soul and you found yourself, and you realise that it isn't about finding Prince Charming. It isn't about waiting for someone to ride in and save you, but that you get to be the one that is your own hero. Now, if you're right on the edge of that place where you've got it, congratulations, you found the one, you are the one. And it should be happy ever after, right? Like, that's what the story has told us, that when we found our one, when we understood what it was, when this wonderful thing happened, that would be happy ever after. But what no one ever talks about is what happens after happy ever after. What happens when you close the book, when you've met your one and you're in this place? Well, then we get to have a relationship. And so much of adulting in the world is really about having a relationship with yourself. It's about understanding yourself. It's about advocating for yourself. It's learning to communicate with yourself. And only when you've got those skills can you go out in the world and really have a successful relationship or business, because you are able to be yourself and not be rocked when things get uncomfortable or when things get challenging or when things get difficult. Now, if you're a misfit or if you're one of my people, then you care. You care about the world. You care about people. You want to make the world a better place. So you will have lofty, idealistic ambitions for the world and humanity. And you want to see these things come to fruition. And what that means is that very often you overpromise, you have soft, let's call them soft boundaries, where you allow people in and you allow people in, you allow people in, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I'm completely burnt out. And so I want to stress that rather than waiting for someone to save you, rather than waiting for someone else to get it, rather than waiting for a time when people treat you differently, or when you have enough time, or when you're magically good at boundaries, this is the time to work that stuff out and to really give yourself that solid foundation. Your Thing Sure Thing gives you the tools for living with yourself in the real world day to day, because happy ever after requires work. Finding yourself is just the beginning. Now you get to choose yourself every single day. And when you do that, that doesn't mean that you can't have relationships with other people. What that means is that you can be in interdependent relationships rather than codependent relationships, or relationships where people walk all over you, or where you feel like you're anxious because you never know whether you're living up to expectations or whether you're good enough. Instead, you're really, really clear on what your value is and what your role in the relationship is. And you call in people who fit with you and whose blind spots you fit, and they appreciate you and they love you and they want to like go, here, take my money, please help me, I can see the value in you. And so if you are a kind-hearted, creative misfit who has a service or product-based business and wants to feel really solid in their foundations, really solid in who they are, know my thing is a sure thing, have confidence, feel grounded, and go out into the world, or attract the right people into you, depending on whether you're somebody who is an initiator or likes to be a lighthouse. Both of those things are possible. Neither way is right or wrong. And I will give you the tools to be able to do that. Now, if you don't have a business, but you're in a career and you have a job where you make decisions, where you're an influencer, if you like, if you influence your team, if you influence a department, if it is your job to make decisions that affect other people, and that includes, by the way, running a household, being a mum, then this work is so, so crucial for you. Because now that you understand that how the world works, now that you understand a little bit about manifesting, now that you understand that that you're living in a matrix and that we get to create our reality, and that now that you understand that it's happening for you and not to you, well, now you get to actually live that every day, right? You get to reset your mindset. You get to take aligned action rather than being busy all the time. And this is what my program will show you. Now, not only all the programs that I do come with community, and the reason for that is that very often when we're doing our own work just with one other person, we don't get to see what is going on reflected back to us, and we can feel like Bambi in the headlights. We can be a little bit like, what just happened? I had some coaching, or I went through something, but I don't remember it. And when we watch somebody else going through the same process, or we have a conversation with them, our social learning styles are activated and we get to interact with other people. We get to explain to them our experience. They get to explain to us theirs. And in so doing, we learn not just what we've learned from the content, but we also learn what they've learned from the content. And that's really, really important, because it means that you don't have to endlessly take notes. You will go away with a completely different understanding of yourself and of life. You're going to leave sure, you're going to leave confident. And if you wobble or rock because things in your life change or because stuff happens, you will have the tools to go back to again and again and again. Now, the program is an audio program. And that means that you get to listen in your own time. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. You get to plug in, listen to the trainings, and there will be stories and context and challenges and prompts for you to investigate deeper. And then you get to come back into the group and share with us what it is that you have learned, and check in with each other so that you can gain insights and move forward together. Now, if you are someone who also wants some one-on-one attention, I have some great news for you. After not taking on any new one-to-one clients since last summer, this program only, I will take on 5 new one-to-one clients. So I'd like up to 5 people. In this container, we will take 10 people maximum. And that means that if you are an introvert, this is a wonderfully safe space. You don't have to feel like you're going to get bulldozed. I have a very strict application process. I'm very, very precious, let's say, about the spaces that I curate. Actually, my expertise is creating experiences for people, social experiences for people where we're matched really beautifully with other people in that space. So we learn from each other as well as me. And yeah, at the moment there are 5 opportunities to come and work with me one-to-one, but they won't last very long because people always want to upgrade their experience. And when I ran this program last time, half the group upgraded on their first day because there was space and they really wanted to have that extra time with me. It works either way, and whichever one works for you is perfect. But if you did want to have some extra time with me, it is possible. So I hope this has been interesting and insightful. The thing that I really want you to take from this is that if you're waiting for someone to rescue you, if you're waiting for the right time, or you're waiting for to be ready, or you're waiting to have the money, or you're waiting for whatever it is, that it just isn't true. Okay, those things are never coming, and what you're actually waiting for is you to choose you. It's time that you became your own hero or heroine and rescued yourself. And what that looks like is saying yes to figuring out who you really are and learning to love it, and doing the work that means that no matter what happens on the outside, no matter what circumstances show up in the world, you aren't rocked, you aren't phased, and you can handle it because you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. You've got incredible roots, and you have the tools, practices, routines to bring you back home to yourself in an instant. This program is 12 weeks because that's how long it takes to rewire our brain and for a habit to become a lived experience. But this will change your life. It is a life-changing experience. You will not be the same person afterwards. You will be confident. You will be proud of who you are. You will be fulfilled and feeling good about the future. If you are somebody who constantly asks, but how, that will become clear to you. And if you're somebody who asks, but why, that will become clear to you too. So if you'd like to find out more about Your Thing Sure Thing, I'm going to pop the link into the comments so that you can click through. But also I am very much available to talk to you. So I'm not one of those coaches that coaches from a distance and doesn't let you talk to me. I'm hugely available to you. Send me a DM and let's chat. And stop waiting to be rescued, because you get to be your own hero or heroine and rescue yourself. You're not broken. You just need to learn the tools of how to handle yourself and really understand your strengths and weaknesses, come home to yourself and get your shit together in a way that feels good. There's no stressfulness, there's no hustle, there's no fighting. This work is simple, yet hugely powerful, and I have spent the last 10 years studying this stuff so that you don't have to, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Wherever you are today in the world, send you loads of love. Stay wild, stay true, always be you.